When it comes to numbers, the tariqah, for example, you've graduated from university. You're doing your doctorate, right? You're doing your master's degree well, the tariqah is like that. It sets you apart from regular university graduates. There is a secret in numbers. Look, you ask, why recite this many times? Why do you recite that many times? Look, I'm giving you a live example here. I don't understand everything, right? For example, our brother Semi is a locksmith. So is Mr. Ahmed. You know, now they're coded too. For example, in the past, keys used to have these notches, right? I look, for example, and there are 8 notches. Well, now, Mr. Tahir got upset too. He says, let me reduce this to 7. I mean, does it have to be 8? He eliminates one of the notches. For example, now it's 7. But then the key that used to open the door every day doesn't work. He says, what's the problem with just one missing? Look, it doesn't open. So, you have a house key with 7 notches, right? You open it every day. That bothers him too. He says, let me add one more notch from the boiling one right here. Right? Let the one with 7 open. Let it be 8. But still the door doesn't open. Why? He says, I had set it for 7. Why did you make it 8? There's a secret in the numbers. For example, 313. What is 313? At Badr, the number of Muslims was 313. When Prophet David fought against Goliath, remember? Saul was the king and leader of the Muslims. Prophet David was young then, 19 years old, and later he became a prophet. Their number was also 313. 10,000 people set out on the road. Goliath's army was also 10,000 strong. They didn't face Goliath's army. Only 313 people remained. The number of messenger prophets is also 313. There is a secret in that. Look. For example, your Sheikh tells you to recite a certain number of times. There is wisdom in that. For example, if you say, Ya Latif, 100 times a day, he says you'll never have a headache. If you say it 99 times, it won't work. If you say it 101 times, it still won't work. There is wisdom in that. We need to pay attention to these things. Look, I'm conveying a saying of Sheikh Effendi. Look, I'm not saying anything from myself. The late saint used to say, for example, someone says, I don't recognize any Sheikh or order, meaning he goes his own way. He says Allah 100,000 times a day. Look. And another person is affiliated with a Sufi order, and his Sheikh tells him to say Allah 10 times a day. The one who says Allah 10 times a day by the instruction of his Sheikh earns more reward than the one who says Allah 100 times on his own. Why is that? It's just like a doctor's prescription.